Hey guys and girls, my name is JJ. The James Brown grooves, foundation of funk, very influential in hip-hop, sampled over and over. The James Brown drummers. Okay, here we go. Number one, Funky President, 1974, played by Allan Schwartzberg. He's one of the little lesser known James Brown drummers. I'm taking this as the first one, though it's the latest that I'm showing. 1974 is 105 BPMs, and it's probably technically the easiest of these grooves. So we'll start out with this one. Here it goes. Sounded something like this. Okay, this beat has been sampled over and over in hip-hop. They took the first little bar of the recording. This has been used by Salt and Pepper, Public Enemy, LL Cool J, NWA, everybody. Now, there's one thing that is special about this beat, and that is that there's a slight swing to it, okay? It's not straight, so if you just see the transcription, if you just see the notes, it's not gonna work, okay? Because there's a slight swing on the bass drum on these offbeat 16s. So you have something like this, right? As opposed to straight. Takes away of the groove, of course. Now, what you want to do is try with different amounts of swing. Like, you know, start off straight. And then go all the way to hard swinging. That's one thing you could practice. Then there's another thing happening here, and that's a little drag, a little groove drag, so to speak, that you're gonna do as a ghost note on the snare before the one, like this. Okay? That he does now and then, which is a really cool thing to put in these little drags into a groove. So that's it. Funky President, 1974. Now, all the way back to 1967. Cold Sweat. Clyde Stubblefield on drums. Also known as the Funky Drummer. Clyde, he came up with a beat that people would go crazy. Drummers, musicians around, they didn't know how to handle, didn't know what to do. This beat really revolutionized syncopated funk drumming. What he did is he displaced the backbeat and the one in the second bar and made it a nice two-bar phrase, which goes something like this. Amazing two-bar phrase. What he did is he opened the hi-hat. He did this a lot. He opened the hi-hat on the end of one and the end of three, which of course gives a nice little intriguing thing with the shift, with the displaced backbeat there. So you want to work on this. You can leave out the ghost notes at first, and or leave out the hi-hat openings and get that beat displacement going. That's a thing you might want to practice. That you go ahead, you play one bar straight with the bass drum on 1 and 3, snare on 2 and 4, and then you turn it around in the second bar. You shift all these bass drums and snare drums to the end, which will be something like this. Little things like this are great to practice, that you always know where the 1 is, you always know where the pulse is, where the beat is. Then what happened is that they would play it at various tempos. Later on they would play it live, they would play much faster, that groove, where it would become then more of a quarter note hi-hat thing. They would maybe go something like this. Stuff like that. So that's a really nice beat to explore. Cold Sweat, 1967, sorry. Clyde Stubblefield. Love this beat so much, I might then, flip it around, do my own thing off of it. I might do something like this. Next up, 1969, Mother Popcorn. Again, Clyde Stubblefield on drums. He would take it up to 116 BPM, and he would try out a new thing. He would use quarter notes on the hi-hat, which was a new thing back then because everybody was playing more eighth notes, timekeeping. But underneath there will be some heavy 16 kind of bass drum snare thing going on, which would sound something like this. Okay, heavy about this beat is that ghost note thing. And this made a lot of drummers crazy too. You have ghost notes before the backbeat and after the backbeat. In the second bar, do something like this. Okay. Can you see this? Okay, so this is what you're gonna have to practice. Okay, ghost note levels, keep them ghost notes down. Bring the backbeat up, maybe with a little rim shot. That's that. That's really a mother, that beat. I love it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
One track that everybody knows, Sex Machine. 1970, John Jabo Starks on drums. This is a typical Jabo groove that he used on Sex Machine. He opened the hi-hat on the end of 1 and the end of 3. And also added a little swing to it. And it goes something like this. Okay, special about this is that you have that hi-hat going together with the ghost note and then a ghost note alone in the middle of the bar. Alright, that's a little tricky at first. You might want to slow that down and work on that. Then, what I love about this beat is the one. Got a really cool one and then these backbeats, and that makes the whole thing working, you know. You can slow that down and it still works, that groove. Lovely. Funky drummer, 1970, Clyde Stubblefield. One of the craziest beats ever played by a funky drummer. I try to do it. It's really hard, but I'll try to do it and give you some little hints. Okay, I think what's really important is that you have to keep your levels really low. I was already too high now. You know, like what they did, you know, they played actually pretty softly in the studio, but they had, of course, with the analog recording of these days and the nice compression, they brought this whole thing up to make it sound big, but they played softly actually on a lot of these beats. So with this one, you definitely have to slow it down, you know. This is what I do, that I leave out the 16 after the opening with the hand. I play with the foot. This could have been, this is what I've seen Questlove do. This could be what Clyde was also doing, because I saw a video of Clyde where he didn't remember the funky drummer beat and he didn't play it. So there's no real footage showing him playing this groove. So I don't know. Maybe we just practice both and see what works best. Since You've Been Gone, 1970. Wonderful track. Again, Clyde Stubblefield on the drums. I think he wanted to take Mother Popcorn one step further. This is what he came up with, a 2-bar groove. Let me try if I can do it. He came up with something like this, crazy groove. The whole, don't lose the one. The whole first bar is displaced to the offs, to the and instead of the downbeat. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? Pretty crazy. You have to start off this slow, make sure you don't lose the one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, crazy. Displacement there and a little triplet in the beginning is pretty cool. Clyde Stubblefield. Woohoo! So that was that. A little drum video lesson on the James Brown grooves. My name is JJ. I'm happy to have you here. I'd like to give a shout out to Big Firth drumsticks, Paiste cymbals, Lauper drums, Remo drumheads. Thanks for the amazing support. If you want to know more, feel free to book me for a private lesson, a Skype lesson, or a workshop. I'd be happy to share whatever I have. And be sure to check out my channel. There'll be more to come. So keep on drumming, keep it funky. Give it to the funky drummer.